Please, let me just get this out of the way before I start this review. Please, no spoilers in the comments here, because I know this is a highly anticipated movie for a lot of people. I know it's all over the internet, over every social media site, but please, no spoilers for the sake of the people who have not seen it. Please. Thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get right into my Deadpool and Wolverine review. And the only thing you can do for a review like this is
maximum effort.
So Deadpool and Wolverine is the third movie of the Deadpool franchise, and this is also Deadpool's introduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because as we know that back when Fox was not owned by Disney, Deadpool was actually part of the X-Men franchise, which was part of Fox. And then when Fox got bought out by Disney, X-Men as well as Deadpool came over to Disney and part of their Marvel universe. So hence, that's how Deadpool got pushed into the cinematic universe. Let's go ahead and say, for those who actually saw the trailer, it's interesting, I mentioned no spoilers, and yet the trailer is actually a point that I can talk about. Whoever saw the trailer, whatever you saw, it's exactly what you get. I mean, I'm saying this because you know that there are some trailers you see to movies and you're like, oh, I expected this from the trailer, but then you walk out of the movie and you're like, the movie was nothing like the trailer. Well, this movie is exactly what the trailer shows you. You know, basically Deadpool, Wolverine teaming up together to stop the baddies. And of course there are lots of cameos, lots of references. I mean, that's pretty much as vague as I can get without giving away anything. Let's of course start with the two big actors of this movie, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Of course, they are perfect together. I mean, you have these two top actors who play these two amazing comic book characters. They are just perfect as these characters. Nobody else can play them. But their chemistry works so well together. It's spot on, because I knew that from the start it was going to be like a yin and yang kind of thing, because they're complete opposites of each other. You have Wolverine, who's of course a character who's gone through a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. So I mean, he has that past that he's trying to escape from. And then you got Deadpool, the merc with the mouth, who is like his worst enemy when it comes to annoyance. He's gonna annoy Wolverine till he can't take it anymore, and then there's gonna be bickering, fighting, and a lot of blood, a lot of gore coming out. And the funny joke is that no matter what he does, he can't die, because neither of them can die, so the fighting never stops. So, I mean, it works perfectly together. One thing that was really going to pique my interest, of course, though, was how were they going to bring Wolverine back? Again, no spoilers on how they did it, but it always questioned my mind, because Hugh Jackman had a great ending in Logan, and the way it ended, and then him saying that he was not going to play the character anymore, I was like, this was a great way for him to send it off. I mean, the way he dies and the way he's buried, I'm like, it's perfect. But then, somehow Ryan Reynolds gets him back in the suit, and not just the suit, he gets him back in the original suit that we see him in the trailer that we have been waiting 20 years for Hugh Jackman to wear. So, I mean, it's perfect how they get him back in there. I also like the fact that even though that this is a Deadpool movie, and you're expecting the gore, the fights, the blood, and of course the jokes and everything. A lot of ass and dick jokes in this movie, by the way. But the point I'm trying to make here is that even though it's that kind of movie, they don't forget the fact that there is another character here, another main character here, who is not, not just all about that. He is in pain. He has gone through trauma, and they actually pull on that a little bit. And it's good that they don't forget about him and just mainly make Ryan Reynolds as the main character and Hugh Jackman just as a co-star, even though this is technically, Deadpool's movie. So I like that fact, that they didn't forget that fact, and they actually kept it true, because, Deadpool has always had a self-awareness kind of thing going on, that there are people who are going through trauma, and they kind of pull on your heartstrings a little bit, in certain points, but this one pulled on him really hard. This movie is also grand central for, cameos. There are so many cameos and references in this movie, and of course, I'm not going to go into them. But, I guess the technical term would be, cameo porn, I guess, if you want to use that term right there. Cameo appearances have been going on with MCU, since its creation. So they're not nothing new. But it seems like here, with these cameos in this specific movie, it seems like all they do is just make the movie stronger and stronger. And I feel like it works so well like that because of the fact that it's Deadpool. And, Deadpool has always been treated like an underground character, like he's not as important as all the other Marvel characters from the other Marvel movies. And along with the fourth wall breaks and adding that in there, it's like he's always asking to himself, why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? Because he's been so lowered compared to all the other characters, and now finally he gets that moment in the MCU, and he gets to have as many characters as he wants. And I like that ploy. I think it works so well. And even though it's not like one of those moments with these newer MCU movies where, they're hoping this will save the movie, because the movie was already really well done. It's just like this made it even better and stronger with each cameo we got. The action scenes are also really great. They're amazing too. They're funny. They're, of course, like I said, they're gory. It's exactly what you expect for a Deadpool movie. It's so interesting how they know exactly what the audience wants when it comes to a Deadpool movie, and as well as to know what they want when it comes to a Deadpool meets Wolverine movie. My favorite action scene in this movie took part in a car, and it was so hilarious. I never thought that was gonna happen, but it was so funny. There was one thing I felt kind of frustrating about this movie, and it's the way that they make the stakes for this movie. Now, like we saw in the first two movies, the stakes were not as high as they were in this movie, because as we saw, they incorporated the TVA and the multiverse and everything, so the stakes were a lot higher. But I didn't really feel them like I did in the first two movies. It was kind of like they were kind of trying to keep his, introduction into the MCU, kind of trapped inside of a bubble. And I found that kind of frustrating. They didn't just let it, flow like the usual Deadpool style. They just wanted to keep it Deadpool, but keep it kind of like in a little restriction. But even knowing that, they didn't really have to make Deadpool, like this insane guy who was going to save the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just wanted to see Deadpool again. That was all I wanted. But the way they bring him in it still serves its purpose. So in the end, I was still satisfied. The movie also had an amazing soundtrack, by the way. Honestly, when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the only soundtracks that really have kept my attention were, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the first Captain Marvel movie, because they played heavily on retro music. And I'm always up for a retro soundtrack, and Deadpool plays on that too with a lot of retro music here, and it works very well with the humor. So this soundtrack was perfect. They did really well with that as well when it came to making this movie. All other things aside, this movie was what it was expected to be, with a straightforward premise, and that was Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman coming together to play the characters they were meant to play. No question about it, without a doubt, Deadpool and Wolverine get an A+ here. This probably could knock out Dune 2 for Best Movie of 2024. No bullshit. Alright, well that just about wraps up this review. If you guys have seen Deadpool and Wolverine, please comment here down below what your thoughts were on it, but please, just be nice. No spoilers, for the sake of the people who have not seen it. Please. All I ask. For them. And also, if you like my other videos, please check out here more on my channel. And always remember to stay epic.